Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video I have my Scandinavian forest axe. I had a party about a week ago, and this unfortunately got passed around quite a bit to a number of people who were splitting wood, and I suffered a little bit of damage. Now, it's not earth-shattering damage, but I'm a little bit funny and a little bit finicky with my blades. Now, I do prefer my knives and axes and all my blades and gear in certain ways to kind of show use and wear and just kind of even wear over time. But when it comes to nicks and chips in my blades, I go nuts. I cannot stand it, and I absolutely have to do something about it. And that is the case today, where I do have some damage that has taken place. Now, again, it's not extremely substantial, but at the same time, my edge is getting just a little bit dull from heavy use, and I really wanted to do a nice job cleaning this up and getting it back to razor sharp once again. Now, a while back, I had watched a video from Wrangler Star, who did an excellent job sharpening up his axe. Now, with that said, I'm going to use a similar method, but with tools that I have available, things that I have readily available, I'd say in my workshop, but I haven't really built my workshop yet, so I'm kind of in the unfinished side of the basement here, and I'm going to use some different tools and sharpening stones to get this thing back to razor sharp. And if you're interested in seeing what I'm up to, do me a favor. Stay tuned. So the first step for me is going to be to run this on my belt, simply being that there is some damage, and before I really start to sharpen the edge, I want to make sure I move all the metal back into place that I can, because the last thing I want to do is be removing too much metal. So really I'm going to start by honing this back to a nice, reasonably sharp edge, and then from there I will start my polishing process. So that's a decent start, but not nearly where I want this to be. So I have this now on my sawhorse and clamped into place. Feels nice and secure. I still have a pretty good, call it chip, up on the top corner really of the bit, and I'm not thrilled at that. And there's not a ton I can do simply with the leather. So that is going to have to be kind of corrected here. The rest of it actually is really pretty good, but I definitely do not have that polished edge that I'm looking for basically the entire ground section. So I'm curious to see how this will come out, and it's time for me to really start the next piece of this. I have a couple of Spyderco sharpening stones in here, and these are mighty nice. I like them quite a bit. They've worked very well for me, but as you can see, they are filthy. So I'm going to start by really trying to wash these up and getting all the metal out of them, so that as I'm sharpening my axe, they will be as efficient as possible. So that's really the first step. So I have two grits here. This one is a medium, and I'm just going to use this little scouring pad with some dishwashing soap, and hopefully do the best I can to kind of clean out the pores of this stone here. I can feel some stuff definitely coming out of there, and I'm seeing it sort of falling down into the sink. So that is the first. And then this one here is a fine stone, so you can see how much I use this. I use this stone all the time. Some of this is coming off. A lot really isn't. So I'll just do the best I can. I don't want to really chance damaging the stone or cracking it by pushing too hard, so I'm just going to do my best to kind of clean this up, at least get the stuff that's on the very surface, and we'll get it out of there. Okay, so now I have some honing oil. This is just Norton honing oil, and the idea being that this stuff basically helps any shavings as you're sharpening to kind of carry away and hopefully not clog up your stone. So I am going to try this stuff out. I have never tried honing oil before, so I'm not completely sure what to expect, but let's go for it and hope for the best. And I will start with my medium stone, and I think I'm just going to apply this stuff directly to the blade here, and I'm basically going to work this smoothing it all out across the blade and just working in a circular pattern. Now you can see the change already. I'm either going to dull this thing to shit or it's going to come out the balls. You can feel sections where this just wants to grab, and those are the areas where the edge is just slightly curled over, and then after you work your way over it, other areas just feel nice and smooth. And I'm kind of, I don't know, trying to figure out my angle of attack. Now I am trying to polish the entire sharpened section of the bit, so I am riding like a little higher at times than I need to for the sharp edge, just trying to kind of polish the entire ground area here. But you can actually hear a difference. I'll try to be quiet between the areas that are smooth and nice and refined now and the areas that still have little burrs. You hear that there? Smooth. Burrs. So I don't know if this is what it's supposed to look like, but this is what I'm getting out of my medium stone. I mean, the reality is it feels very smooth to the touch, and then the edge is starting to feel quite sharp. So I think I'm going in the right direction, but you can see just billions of swirl marks, and I mean that's obvious because of kind of how I was approaching this, but I hope that my fine stone will take all of that out of there, and I guess I'm not convinced yet. So I'm going to go a little further with the medium and then switch to the fine. So this feels ridiculously razor, like ultra razor sharp, and I've only done one side of this thing. I mean, yeah, and that's really a good start where it's cutting into this without too much difficulty. I mean, this is tearing a little bit, but I mean, the cut is what's starting this. So that is like scary sharp, but what do I do about the swirls? I mean, all of this sharpened part of the bit here feels nice and smooth, like buttery smooth. So at this point, I think I'm going to swap it out and see what happens with the fine stone. And I hope it's able to take these swirls out of here. I don't know, but we will find out, I guess, together right now. Now, unfortunately, it does not feel like this fine stone has like enough grit in a way to polish this up. I feel like I need something in between, and I might not have it. So I suspect I'm going to have to live with the result of this with these swirls. But the good news is I have definitely fixed my edge, and the edge is like
so scary sharp again, almost like the day I got it. This is like one of the sharpest things I've ever had, kind of coming out of the box. And I feel like now I'm getting it back there, which is good. So I'm going to keep working at sort of polishing this just a bit, and then I'll fine tune it after I clean up the other side. So at this point, I'm a little bit lost. I mean, I know I'm getting a good quality edge, and I know I am polishing this. I just don't know how to get the swirls out. So I've partially accomplished what I wanted to. I just wonder if it's either a technique thing or maybe just the wrong stones. I suspect I probably needed a coarser stone really to get this started, so I could get down through some of the original grind lines, you know, those factory grind lines. And then the medium stone probably would have done a better job, kind of really just polishing it. And then the fine stone, I don't know if I need something between that medium and the fine stone really to get that to a mirror image. But at least at this point I can say that the edge, I mean this grind right here is just buttery smooth, and then the edge is feeling razor sharp. So I have the right idea. Now I'm gonna flip this over and destroy the other side. I might as well at this point, and we'll go from there. So taking a look at the other side here, you can see those original factory grind lines in there. It's reasonably smooth. I'm feeling the oil that's kind of leaked over from the other side, but when I compare the two sides, I mean the bottom side now that I just shined up, I guess, not really shined up, really swirled up, feels ridiculously butter smooth. And then up here, I mean, I can feel like sap and like little chunks of stuff, but it just doesn't have the same feel. So I know what I was doing is definitely on the right track, but I don't know. Let me swirl the shit out of this side and see how it comes out. Nice. So yeah, that feels good. Still gonna keep going at it, but it's starting to feel good. You know, I'm wondering if on the other side I just didn't go long enough. I mean, maybe I just gotta like keep doing this.
If you look at this side, it is significantly better, and I'm starting to get a mirror edge on this, which is what I'm going for. And I did that by using the leather strop on my belt sander. So taking a quick look here, just using this leather belt did a pretty good job at taking out a bulk of the swirls. Now I do have the ability to run this belt in the reverse, which is a sort of more coarse side, and I think that would really start to take those swirls out with some good compound. But the problem is that this belt is pretty much stretched out and won't ride well with the smooth side on the pulleys, so it's kind of slipping and I'm not getting the right RPM. So what I'm hoping I can do is maybe salvage this belt by soaking it in like water and hopefully shrinking it. So just you know, soak it down, shrink it up, and then ultimately maybe get back on polishing the axe. So that's my next move. So I'm gonna soak this belt in hot water for a little bit and then let it dry. So I'm a day out on this anyway, and then come back and I'm going to try to polish up the rest of that axe. So now the good thing is, a day later, this belt, if you look here, is reasonably tight. So I'm hoping that once I wrestle this on here, I will be able to get this thing to run actually at the appropriate RPM and using, kind of call it the coarse side of the belt. So just getting this on here and I'll snug it up. Let's see what happens. Oh baby, that is a great sign. So let's get the axe, and we'll use this side of the belt to polish it up. So I have a couple different compounds. This one here is the brown. The brown's a little more aggressive than the green. So what I usually do is use the brown on the coarse side of the belt, and then the green or white, which white is the least aggressive, on the smooth side of the belt. So this is great because now that I've gone through the ceramic rods, I've gone with a medium and kind of roughed it up. Went with a fine ceramic rod, got a really great edge. Now I'm using this strop here to really kind of polish this thing up to the best of my ability. So let's use this brown compound on the rougher side of the belt and see what we can do. Now this is certainly not perfect, but if you look at that, I mean, we are getting somewhere. So, I mean, I still have some work to do, but that is a long way from where it was, and it is really starting to look great. So, overall, I am pretty happy with the progress, and at this point, I could probably flip the belt around, but I got plenty of work to do on this side, which is still a disaster. So, compared to that, this is looking mighty nice. So what I like about these belts, it's literally that simple. I mean, I just took it off, and now I'm just going to flip it around and put it on the fine side, and then get my, I don't know, probably white compound that's going to put a really refined and ridiculous edge on this axe right now. So I think for me, the white compound is going to be kind of like my final stage. And, you know, in the future, I'll still work on this edge, but this is kind of round one to get it right where I want it. So that's that white compound, very simple. And just loading up the belt there, and let's finish this thing off. So now, here is that edge, which is not like perfectly mirror polished, but I mean, damn, that to me, to be honest with you, is looking mighty fine. So, you know, certainly a lot better than it was. Not perfect by any means, but that is much improved over where it was the other day. And actually, you're almost seeing a reflection of me. Hey, what's up? Hey, that's me in that mirror polish. Holy smokes. That's actually pretty darn sweet when you really look at it there. So overall, I got that edge to nice and refined. And in that regard, tell me that's not ridiculous for an axe. I mean, overall, that is pretty sweet. So, not that an axe has to be this sharp, but the fact that I have it this sharp is really pretty cool. So, and that's how I like my blades. Now, I was telling you, I'm like a freak when it comes to having blades that aren't sharp. Well, for me, to be able to shave with my axe, do I need that? No. Do I like it? Hell yeah! So alright guys, there you have it, a quick tune-up on my Gransfors Bruk Scandinavian forest axe after letting a bunch of people just tool on this thing and unfortunately make it something that I was not happy with. But everything is salvageable. You know, for a little while there I was kind of wondering about some of these swirl marks, but I was definitely able to get on it. Now I think for me this is definitely round one. What I need to do, a couple of things that I've learned here. One, I need to get a little more of a coarse stone and start working on this area here where the grind meets kind of the meat of the blade or bit, and really kind of refine that piece of the edge and then really kind of cleaning that up. The second thing is screw the honing oil. I got to get myself some kerosene or something like that to really kind of work on taking the shavings out of my stones. And the third thing is, to be honest with you, don't let other people use your shit. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.